And we're live.
We live. Let's do it.
Uh, let's see. It's 7 o'clock. When we, I mean, I didn't really advertise it and tell anybody, but
Yeah.
um, I did schedule it, so I don't know if anybody will join or not. But we can give it another 5 minutes before we officially kick off. But like I said, I was working out a backlash stood in front of that trolling motor, and then goes towards it, gets stuck in. And it's like "Bzz." Doug's like, "Oh man, you got a big one." Like, no, I got a freaking trolling motor, and so yeah, it was a little nerve wracking. Trying
Same
to work.
day that I broke my PB, I also broke the tip on the rod that I was using. That same
Oh,
way.
really?
Yeah. Um, Fishing. It was one of the first times we took my little John boat out and caught like a 6 pounder. And it's the end of the day. It was the only fish we caught all day, but it was like the end of the day. I took a cast. I had this little hand operated trolling motor,
Hmm.
and my line started moving. I was like, "What the heck?" And then it really started moving. I was like, "That ain't good." And it like sucked the rod right down into the shaft and just ate it up. Oh, Mike's here. He must be really bored to be jumping on another one of these.
Yeah. Well, I don't know. I don't think yesterday he got to participate a whole lot. I think he was taking some phone calls, and so
Got
maybe he
it.
was missing out.
Got it.
Man, I'm gonna get Mike on that Ned rig bike this year. He's been asking me a few questions about it, so it'd be interesting to see what he gets.
Yeah. Yeah. I think me and him are going out Sunday afternoon to the river, so hopefully we'll get on some Ned rig fish out there.
Yeah, it'd be interesting to see how the weather shakes up.
Yeah, it's looking like some rain in the morning. Gonna be kind of one of those chilly days, but if it's not raining, I'm game. So we'll see how it goes.
Let me check this text here real quick. Da-da-da. So you've been getting all prepared?
Yeah, man. I brought the backpack up here in the office and like literally tore it apart. I took every single thing out, emptied out every pouch, every box, every compartment, and just like did an evaluation of what I got. Um, I even took like a little hand vacuum and like vacuumed out every little compartment just to get all the little crap and stuff away. Um, Now it's all
Feels
clean
good.
and ready to go.
Do you feel like is this something you do every year? Is this your first year with that bag?
It's my second full season with it, and I haven't done it before, but I was just like, you know what, let me do like full reset here. Get everything organized and clean, and start the year off right. It doesn't stay that way, obviously, the whole year, but um, I'm feeling nice and prepared for the start at least.
Yeah, man. I feel like that's a lot can contribute to a lot of success, right? And just one less thing you got to think about, get your head in the right space. You know what you have and what you don't, and
Yeah,
then
yeah.
everything's organized.
That's why I took. I mean, you look at this box, and I'll talk about it a little bit later, but there's a lot of crap in that box you got to check, and it's all important. Um, got weights and hooks and rigs, and it's just making sure you got everything you need, and then making sure it's all in good condition is important.
Let me edit this thing. Let me say
At the old banner there.
we will.
Has Mike ever caught a fish on a Ned rig?
I don't know, man. He's been fishing a long time. I would hope so.
You would hope so, but I don't know if it's really his style. Well, he does like throwing that little stupid. I'm not even gonna call out what it is.
Works. Let's see. You like show? Since I can't do 7:05, we'll just do like 7:06.
706. He says he has caught one on Ned before, so there you go.
Dude, I was trying to make up some more Ned heads to get ready for this weekend, but a little melting pot thingamajigger, it's not pouring out lead correctly, and didn't want to fool with it, and so I'm gonna have to
Hmm,
get that squared away before Saturday morning.
that's weird. Where you going?
I'm gonna go to the river. I'm taking a buddy from work fishing. Hopefully, he doesn't bail on me.
Oh, cool.
He's not a big fisherman, but I figured that going out to the river would be the easiest way to catch fish than running around all the lake and fishing for hours and looking for one bite.
I still feel like it. it's so much better in the summer for some reason to just catch fish, like to catch numbers. I
Oh
feel
yeah,
like you can just slay them out there in the summer, especially. But that'll be fun.
yeah. So I'm gonna rig up two spinning rods for my took out braid and spool in my other reel with that copolymer line. That
Okay.
way you want stuck, it's easy to just break off and have to tie, a union knot.
Did you hear B Height talking about that Sunline sinking braid the other day on BTL?
Uh, I don't know if I did. I don't know if I got that far.
I don't remember what it's called. It's like a D braid, I think he called it, but it's like a a pink sinking braid instead of a regular floating braid.
Interesting.
Thought that was kind of cool.
Yeah, I wonder what advantage that really gives you, though. I mean, I guess it might good be for for dragon baits, maybe.
Yeah,
Is
for
it-
fishing structure, that's what he was talking about. Drop shot in a rock pile or brush pile or something like that.
Yeah.
Helps the bait stay down on the current too.
All right, we'll go ahead and get started. And if people join, they'll join. But all right, Alex, welcome. I know today you were planning on hosting today's session, but we're using StreamYard, or is it? I always get StreamYard or YardStream mixed up, but we're using StreamYard, and apparently you had to wait like a day before you can stream it to YouTube or something like that. So maybe if the folks are watching this and they're interested in doing it, maybe you can kind of give a tip there of what's going on.
Yeah, so if you have a YouTube channel, I don't know if it's like a subscriber count thing or what it is, but you have to request access to live stream. And I've never done live stream on my channel before. And so I started getting my account set up on StreamYard. It redirected me to YouTube because that's the platform that it goes out on. But when I went to go further the process, it basically told me there's a 24 to 48 hour waiting period where you have to get verified to stream. So the next time we do this, it'll probably be me next week hosting the stream. But for now, you're stuck with Johnny.
Cool. So I know we traded some texts over the last couple of days, and you're getting ready for the tournament season, which you're fishing BFLs from the back of the boat. Maybe we can kind of talk a little bit about that.
Yeah. So the tournament season, the psychological and the mind side of it never really stops. The prep never really stops. You spend all off season thinking about your schedule and thinking about what you're going to do, what you want to fish, where you want to fish. But the actual physical prep work of getting all of your gear together and reassessing all of your stuff, that I might be starting a little late than some people, but I'm familiar with this lake in this area, so I'm not as worried about doing a full blown get ready here. And since I fish all season, my gear is still maintained throughout the year. It's just a matter of reassessing what I need for the tournament. So.
Was you surprised of any certain lure or terminal tackle that you went through that you didn't think you used as much, or was there a commonality like, oh man, I use a lot of 3/16, teardrop drop shot weights or big hooks and whatnot?
I think the biggest thing I've learned is I can't be as specifically organized as I want to be with stuff. So I'd love to have with one of these terminal boxes, just a single box of 1/4 ounce bullet weights or 1/4 ounce, whatever, and then have a box of the 3/16 and then having so on and so forth. Can't really do that as a co-angler. I mean, I'm sure there are some, but I've limited space. So even if I've used something a whole lot, I have to remember that I need other stuff too. I need options. So I have to balance the need for what I really like and the need for what I use a lot. And it's an interesting game that you play.
Yeah, but do you feel like you really need, like when you're going out for a tournament, do you really need 10, 15 1/4 ounce weights and, three,
No, that's what I'm
three-
saying. That's what
yeah.
I'm saying is you need 1/4 ounce and 3/16 and 5/16 and half. And, you need, so then you got to figure out, do I need 5 of each? Do I need 3 of each? Do I need 5 of this one and 3 of the other? Or do I need 8 of this one? It's a whole game. I have been planning on doing a full guide to being a co-angler series of videos, and I started writing some of that out today, writing a little script out. So I'm gonna release that here soon. With tournament season starting, I'm hoping to get it out ahead of that, so that really what I did is looked on YouTube, and there's not a whole lot of like what you need to bring as a co-angler. There's a lot of how do you sign up and how to fish is a cone angler, but how do you prepare? It's a whole different game. So I'm gonna be working on that stuff here soon.
Yeah. So before we went live earlier, I think you had a Plano box that you're showing me. I don't know if you want to start with that or
Yeah,
whatnot, but
sure. So this is this Plano Edge, which pretty much, hope you guys can see that over the reflection there. Um, but this is a Plano Edge box labeled terminal there. Um, they came out with, so they've had the 36 or 3700 size of the terminal box out for a while. So what I did before they had this 3600 size was I took all the little containers out of the 3700 and stuffed it in a 3600. So it kind of ruined them. But this is my terminal box. So you can see it's got these compartments here in the front are kind of open. So I've got like flipping beads and just some like loose tackle, some stuff that doesn't really fit in any of the categories. But I mean, I've got my worm hooks, flipping hooks, swim bait heads, the smaller individual swim bait heads, drop shot and wacky hooks. This is all weights right here. There's the opposite direction here. Got drop shot weights, got Ned rigs, we've got shaky heads, we've got some various like split rings and CPSs, and then swim bait heads here. So it's just a mix of all the terminal that I carry with me in the boat.
did you say CPS?
Yeah, the owner center pin systems.
I don't guess I'm familiar with it. I don't know if it'll show up in the camera or not, but what's the advantage of it and how do you use it?
So if you've ever used a flashy swimmer by owner, that little pin on the head of the hook that you spin your little bait on, that's a CPS. So got one here. Hope you guys can see that okay.
Oh yeah,
Tiny.
Spring thing.
They're just like a little screw lock. But the reason I keep a lot of these is because I use them for my Alabama rig for my dummy baits. So I don't chop off. I don't need any more weight on the Alabama rig. I just use these and screw the swim bait head onto them.
Gotcha. And the net brand is an owner?
Yeah, they're owner CPS.
Cool. And then all your weights, are they all tungsten or you have some lead stuff in there?
When I'm fishing tournaments, it's pretty much all tungsten nowadays. There you go. But for the river or for somewhere where I know I may lose some, I'll use lead for that.
Gotcha. On the drop shot stuff, are you using the small like circle hook, or are you using like the longer straight shank?
So I've got both. I'm definitely not a drop shot expert, but if I'm fishing like more open water or dragging where not maybe I'm on rock or something like that, I like to nose hook. Just feel like you can hook 10 times more fish, right? If they even look at it, they get hooked. And I also use the nose hook when I'm bed fishing and drop shotting. So that's nice. The straight shank EWG style I use when I'm like cover shotting, basically, when I'm fishing at heavier stuff, brush piles, heavier rock, up shallow. I really like that weedless approach.
Speaking of weedless, do you do weedless neds and just open hook neds?
Yeah. I don't think those weedless neds are all that much more effective as far as getting in cover. If I'm worried about hanging up with a Ned rig, I'll just throw a shaky head, honestly. I don't see all that many times where you won't get bit on a shaky head if they're willing to bite a Ned. So.
Gotcha. Because most people are doing a Ned. I guess, I'd say most people are doing a Ned because of finesse, but they also fish a shaky head because of finesse.
Yeah, and that's probably the Alabama in me coming out with the shaky head, because it's such a staple down there, and I'm so comfortable with it. I also really like the Ned rig, but I have so much confidence with a shaky head, just being able to fish it through almost anything. Fish it through a laydown and rock, and just with the Ned, you've got an exposed hook, and you're asking to get hung up. So
I would think, fishing from the back of the boat, I would think a shaky head would work well with it being more of a finesse technique, not getting hung up, right?
Yeah, no, it's pretty much the reason that I top 20, or actually, I think I got 12th place at the Bass Nation Championship, state championship last year. I caught one keeper on the first day, and it was on a shaky head. And then the second day, I I caught another one on it, and that really is what got me a check. It was literally shaky head. So I'm a big fan.
What would you say your lightest shaky head is, and what's your heaviest?
Um, I'll fish an 1/8 ounce if I'm fishing really shallow, and then a 1/4 ounce is probably my heaviest because I'm never fishing shaky head out of the back of the boat. I'm just not comfortable fishing it more than like 15, 16 feet.
Yeah, and it's on a spinning rod, right?
Yeah. Now you can, they make Magnum shaky heads. They make really big version of the shaky head for ledge fishing, which I know is a good technique as well. I just haven't used it all that much.
Gotcha. Anything else in that terminal box that folks should know? Or I think a really good thing about that box, what I really like about it, if people aren't using it, is like it's really waterproof, right? And keeps your hooks
It
dry,
is.
all that good stuff.
You know how much I fish. That's a great point. I fish year round all the time. I'm going from ponds to rivers to lakes, different boats, traveling for tournaments. I put my gear through the ringer, absolutely. And not only are the boxes, like I think they call it like a rust retardant or a water retardant. They come with these little water wicking, little, I don't even know what you'd call this, little puck basically, and it helps remove moisture like actively, right? So I think it's got a little silica packet in there. But I'm telling you, I've got the jig box over there, and I think I've got like almost 60 jigs in it, and not a one of them has a speck of rust on them.
Nice. And you easily just pop that out of that terminal box. And so that's one of the things I would do in the summertime if I was going to fish a creek or whatnot. And that's what's great about that box too. Like you can just throw a few different things in there and just
Right.
grab like two of those boxes and put them in your pants, and or your shorts.
I do that all the time in my backpack here. I'm gonna grab something. This is not good video casting, but there are different sizes of compartments that these terminal boxes come with. So you've got real little ones. I think I've got speed clips in there, Norman speed clips. And then you've got sort of the medium size, which I pulled out earlier. This is my box of Neds here. And then you've got the bigger size, and I've got the swim bait heads in here, but these just are loose in my tackle bag. So this is some tube heads and then some swim bait heads as well. But like I've got a little ball and chain kit, so I know that my Carolina rig, this is what the ball and chain stuff goes. I don't have to have it mixed with the other tackle there. So I pop that stuff in and out. It goes in the backpack or in the truck or whatever, depending on what the season is.
Yeah. Mike was asking me about the difference between Ned head and shaky head fishing when I was fishing with Doug on Monday. I went out with Doug on the river on Monday, and I was throwing a extra wide gap hook and a little bit bigger bait. And the one really good bite I got on that extra wide gap, that hook didn't penetrate, and that fish came up and shook and came off, and so that was a little disappointing. And then too, like Doug got on a really good like white bass bite, and those white bass, they got a little bit smaller mouth, and it seemed like when I did get bit on that extra wide gap, I don't feel like the fish got it all the way in their mouth, and again I couldn't penetrate in there, but man, as soon as I switched to a straight shank and that exposed hook and a smaller bait, I was able to catch a little bit more fish. But like you said, it is a little bit more snaggy. But when Doug catches like 10 fish to my one, I'm like, all right, man, I give up. I'm switched into what you got. And what was crazy, dude? It's like I had an open hook, and I was throwing like an 1/8 ounce, and he was throwing a 6 ounce, like 1/6, and I was throwing a 1/8, and that made a difference, man. We were fishing like, I don't know, 8-10 foot of water, but man, I switched to that 1/6 and got bit instantly. So
Yeah.
it's
Well,
pretty amazing.
that's probably a matter of where that weight kept it suspended in the water column. So if those white bass are sitting 6 feet below the surface, and you said, was it heavier the one you were fishing?
What's that?
You were fishing an 1/8, he was fishing a 1/6.
Yeah.
Well, either way, if they're sitting in 5 and your bait, you cast it up there ahead of them, and it sinks down there to 7, they're not going to see it, And then he's using a lighter one, flow right through them, and they'll eat it.
Yeah, it was wild. I mean, it was similar to that one day that we were fishing topwater on the river, man. It's like, you had the right topwater lure profile and color. I was also throwing the topwater, and again, you probably caught, 10 fish to my one. And so
Yeah.
I'm
Yep,
starting to
sure.
believe, and it makes a difference on color and profile. I just always thought if you're around fish, you'd catch them.
I think there are times where both of those things can be true. One or the other can be true. There's times where, like when they're schooling, you need to you need to just have a shad based bait out there, right? It doesn't. I don't know if it matters a whole lot what you got out there. See, we have Faith and Fishing in here. Ned rig over shaky all day. So that's wonder where he's from. Where you from, Faith and Fishing? Let us know. But like I said, Ned rig. I mean, I just caught a giant smallmouth on at Dale Hollow, so I certainly do not shy away from it.
Yeah. What else you got there handy that we should talk about?
Let me see. I showed the spot remover the other day. We can talk about spinner baits. How about that?
Oh yeah, you polished some up the other day. I bet you not a whole lot of folks know about this.
Yeah, it did. So, spinner bait is it's Gordo. Ned rig over shaky head all day. Okay, respect, Gordo. So I really like throwing a spinner bait, and I throw one pretty much all year, depending on the situation. Even like right now, I'll go out to the pond and throw a spinner bait. My problem is don't have a boat to keep them in, don't have a great box to keep them in, so they end up sitting in a pouch in my bag, which is kind of designed for them. But they're all in there together. When you start fishing them, they get wet. You toss one in there, pick up another one or whatever. It can tarnish the blades. But a trick I've learned is you can polish the blades with a magic eraser. So I think I've got it sitting on here somewhere, but you guys know what it is. It's a little micro abrasive sponge basically that you use to clean your walls and whatever else. But I use it to clean the blades on the spinner bait, and it does a really good job. So this has been used fairly well, and you just go in and just that little abrasive is enough to clean them up.
So that would be what you got there's a willow leaf blade.
So this is made by a company here in Tennessee. I don't remember the name of it, but this is willow in Colorado. It's got a little orange kicker blade on it.
Now talk to me about like where you would use that setup, like dirty, clean water, certain time of year.
So I love this little red kicker blade in the spring. They talk about red. This is one of the things I really like to do is throw. I call it like a river rat spinner bait. That's what War Eagle calls it. So it's a 1/2 ounce. You can also use a 3/8. This is a really large profile. Figured it'd show up on camera nicely. Yeah. But just chartreuse and white skirt, and then gold willow with a little orange kicker blade on there. And I use it in basically any muddy water. So I don't care if it's just a little bit tinged muddy. I don't care if it's chocolate milk. I really like that orange kicker blade in the springtime especially.
You normally throw it on a trailer, or you have a trailer on it?
I throw like that little twin tail. There are times that a swim bait is good if you're fishing a little deeper and you want more thump. But I really like to the way I use a spinner bait is I throw it where I think it's going to get stuck, and then I get it out of there. So I love when you toss this back either on a dock or around a brush pile on a laydown, and that wire just guides it right over every little thing. And when you get a fish come out of that, it's just an awesome bite. So I use it around the heaviest cover I can, basically. So I don't really need I don't want a trailer slowing it down. So I'll use that little twin tail that just kicks and helps it have a little bit more action.
Yeah. What rod you thought that Jacob Wheeler medium heavy rod?
Yeah, I actually throw it on an SLX medium, believe it or not. It's just a rod that I had for cranking before. And that SLX is a little bit, less of a quality material. It's got a little bit less of a bend, but it's kind of a nice medium between, I've got backbone to set the hook on this one when you get a bite on a spinner bait, but it can also help guide that spinner bait over stuff. And it's sensitive enough to where I can feel, what it's doing. So 7'2" medium.
I wouldn't think you'd want anything too soft because like if you do get bit around some wood or whatnot, you want to be able to pull that fish out, right? So
now if this was, a higher quality rod that was a medium, then yeah, you'd be right. I don't want that much parabolic action, but because it's an SLX, it's just a little bit less parabolic in the bend. Yeah. So it's actually great for a chatterbait and a spinnerbait.
Cool. Is there like certain weight, like a 3/8 or you ever throw anything like a 3/4 or anything, or it's more like half?
3/8 is probably my most common, just because it fits most of the scenarios I'm fishing. So if I'm just throwing around laydowns real shallow or throwing around docks, 3/8 is perfect because I can slow it down and get it, 3-4 feet down, or I can speed it up and fish through that cover. If it's real clear water or if I'm fishing for spots, I like a 1/4 ounce finesse spinnerbait. So actually, I think I have one sitting in here. I don't know if I can grab it real quick. Let's see. I literally just put all these in there, so now they're going to be a mess.
Mike, you throw a spinnerbait much? I don't feel like I've seen you throw a spinnerbait month. Or what about you, Faith in fishing? I think I've caught like maybe 2 fish on a spinnerbait, and one of them was like during shad spawn. I just haven't really had much luck. I don't throw it much. So
everybody has gone away from it because the chatterbait is so good, and it is. But if there's wind and when you can just cast in that structure, so this is that War Eagle river rat spinnerbait I was talking about. Man, this thing is just shredded because it's caught so many fish. But it's going to keep catching them until I throw it away, basically. But
that one and the other one you were showing, that's a 1/4.
So this is a 3/8 ounce.
Yeah,
and this is a 1/2 ounce.
Gotcha.
You can tell the size is quite a bit different. And then the War Eagle, you really don't need a trailer because you've got these little tailies here. And it looks real good in the water. Whereas this, you might want one. But this would be like a deeper fishing spinnerbait. I know guys that you follow who like ledge fish with spinnerbaits, like 3/4 and 1 ounce spinnerbaits. And then in like more clear water, or if you've got real small bait fish, I'll use this is a 1/4 ounce finesse spinnerbait. It's got these Indiana blades, or it's got an Indiana, which is this, and then a Colorado blade here.
So what's the difference? Do you feel like the Indiana is like a mix between a Colorado and a willow leaf? It's got like a little point to it.
It's different because it's got this little fold in the middle. Hopefully
it's got a fold.
The camera's going to really pick that up. But you can see it's got a taper and a little bit of a fold to it. So it just makes a different sound in the water and a different vibration. It's a little more subtle, but that it's concave. Plus it's got a little taper. So it's a little blend of both.
Yeah. Mike, what are you saying? What do you have a box full of? What kind of spinnerbait?
Spinner box full of them.
Spinner box.
Like I said, I think the spinnerbait has kind of gone away a little bit with how amazing the chatterbait is at just catching fish. But I don't know of a chatterbait that I'm confident just slinging up into a laydown and crawling it out, especially
$15 jackhammer.
$15.
Hey, on the topic of chatterbaits on BTL, have you listened to the episode where they're talking about the jackhammer and how they had to work with Japan or something like that? Did you pick up on that at a high level? What were they talking about? Were they saying like they couldn't sell one brand here, but it's not patented in Japan, so they worked with Evergreen? How did that work?
No, I'm not exactly sure how that all worked out as far as business-wise goes. Yeah. I think the thing that makes the jackhammer and the Z-Man chatterbait, that the specific patent that they have, is how the blade attaches to the head. I'm pretty sure that's like the trademark. That's their claim to fame. Was what makes it so good. Whereas some of the others are just a different style.
What's that Berkeley one, that slobber knocker? Have you fished it yet?
No, I love the jackhammer so much that I don't really feel the need to branch out to that. It's probably a great bait, but I just really like the jackhammer.
Gotcha.
What you got next? Throw them over grass flats. Yeah. The one thing that I pretty much always need when throwing a spinnerbait is wind. If I don't have wind, I'm not going to usually get it out. But there were a few tournaments this year that throwing a spinnerbait is what made that tournament for me. So it's something that everybody should have in their boxes at one point during the year.
Well, I mean, especially with everybody throwing a chatterbait, you throw a spinnerbait, something different.
Right. Yeah. There was one tournament on Logan Martin where the water was just cold, muddy. It was just a terrible day for tournament fishing, of course. And Logan Martin is a tough place anyways. And I I lost one on it early in the day. I had one fish on a DT8, and then with like 20 minutes left, I threw my spinnerbait up into like literally into a piece of concrete you could see sticking out of the water. So when I say I fish these things through heavy cover, that's how they end up looking like that, right? I literally pitch it up in this piece of concrete and just crawl it out, and caught my second keeper of the day. So that, I mean, it's a great bait.
You said that was wintertime?
That was like, I think that was March. So it's cold, just cold. It had rained a bunch that week. Coosa was super muddy and cold. And
I just wonder if that fish was lading to that piece of concrete because maybe it was warmer or something like that, or they can use it as cover.
both. It's a current thing and a warmth thing. You know, it's gonna absorb some sunlight and warm up a little bit. But it's also, there was such heavy current that day that that was the way to do it.
Gotcha.
Love a good spinnerbait bite.
Yeah. What other items there you want to chat to?
Oh, I don't know. Have you been fishing that Thunder rig at all?
Not the last two times, since with us, last weekend we were up Dale Hollow. I threw it some. Yeah, I guess I did. I threw it some at Dale Hollow, I threw it some at Priest, and but I didn't throw it on the Cumberland.
Yeah, so I've got one right here. If you guys haven't seen on my channel, I did a review of these, the Thunder rig and the Thunder bait, which all those are is just this Thunder Rocket blade here is what they call it, on two different lures. But what are your observations on just throwing it a few times? You got any thoughts?
I mean, it looks great in the water. I think it's a little different than the other A rigs that I use because it has other A rigs. It has like the little blades and whatnot, and so that's different. So I don't know.
Yeah.
I think it's fine. I mean, I don't think I just been around fish, and that's why I hadn't caught any.
Yeah, definitely. I really like them. I think that sound, I don't know how well my computer's going to pick it up, but just having that little bit of added sound, I think that's going to make a difference.
Hey, Alex, maybe you kind of tell them about the tip that you have, like in your regular A rig. I think you use a little band, right?
Yeah. I'll grab. I've got one sitting right here. So one thing I do, these A rigs come with it. Most of them nowadays come with a little rubber band around them to keep them in the packaging. But one thing I've started doing is putting a little O-ring up on the head here. And so when you've got it all rigged up and shaking around and crazy on your rod, all you have to do is take the O-ring and slip it down over the arms, and that keeps them all together. So even when you're, tying that thing up on your rod or whatever, it just keeps them nice and organized. And then when you're ready to fish, pop it right off.
Nice. Yeah, I haven't done that yet, and I need to.
It's great. It really helps.
Bum my O-ring from you next time we're out.
Sure.
So when did you say your next tournament is?
It's next weekend, so a week from Saturday.
Let me see. What's today's date? So it's the 19th.
It's the 28th of January.
Where did you say it was going to be at?
Smith Lake in Alabama. Lewis Smith Lake, not the one that you found that you were confused about.
Yeah. You said they have all three species there?
No smallmouth. So they've got, the primary population is spots, Coosa spots, and they have, I think they have Kentucky and Coosa spots. And then there's a decent largemouth population. The guy who wins the tournament will probably have a big largemouth or two, that, one of those 4 or 5 pounders that really pushes him to that 18, 19 pound range.
Oh, there you go. You said it, man. You think around 18, 19 pounds will win it up there?
I think someone will probably catch 20, but I think it'll take 17 to get a check, and then, between 18 and 20 to win.
How many boats are in this thing? It's like over 100 boats, right?
Yeah, easily. You never know until you show up that day how many boats are actually in it. But I think the opener for the Choo Choo last year had 185, maybe 190, something like that. Yeah.
I mean, does it feel that way? Like when you're out there on the lake? I mean, do you like just see everybody, see a bunch of folks, or like
it depends on the lake. I mean, yes. The way that it most feels like that is when you're putting in the morning, and it's just absolute chaos trying to get that boat in the water and get it parked. because you get there early as a co-angler. I'm about to do a video about all of this, but you get there early and make sure you're all ready. Chuck your stuff in the boat, jump in the seat and then get going. So that's probably the most chaotic and the most one feels like there's a whole bunch of people. Once you get out on the water, I mean, it's just like any other day fishing.
Yeah, I mean, you're probably like sitting on that boat like for a good hour or so, right, before you blast off, since you're getting there early and whatnot.
Yeah, it depends. Some guys like to get there like stupid early and like, sit there for an hour and a half or, stand around in the parking lot and then they get ready to go. But you're usually at least 45 minutes, but from the time you get in the boat to when you actually blast off.
I know it's probably dark and you can't tell, but it was interesting. I was listening to one of those Bass Talk Live videos, and they're talking about how guys won't like show what they're gonna fish that day, so they won't have rods on their deck, or maybe if they have rods on their deck, like they'll put something else that they're not going to be throwing. How much do you think that still goes on these days? Like surely people are not putting fake, stuff like, oh, I'm going to be throwing a,
It does happen.
Really?
It does happen. Yeah. I think when you get like the local guys who are very protective about what they're doing and they don't want their buddies to see. They don't care if the dude from 2 hours away sees because he's not going to be on their fish, right? But they don't necessarily want their buddies to see because they might know what that bite is and they might be able to go replicate it somewhere else, or they might know where you are. So it happens. I haven't had it happen to me in the boat. Like, we get to the spot and then the dude's, putting all his rods away and getting all the other rods away. I haven't seen that, but it definitely happens.
Dude, I remember I heard like stories like back in the day, like people would put like aluminum foil over their stuff too and whatnot.
Well, and the other thing is with the pros, they would just straight up lie back then. Like they would for sponsorship reasons, they would just tell you that they caught them on something that they did not catch them on. And they could do that because there wasn't live. They could, even if it was filmed, there wasn't really a way to figure out what they were doing. So it's changed a lot.
Dude, I'm looking forward to the pro tournament season this year. I've just been listening so much to BTO and watching YouTube and whatnot, and just I hadn't really followed the pros circuit, ever since I started fishing. But I think this year I'm going to be watching a little bit more.
I think I really enjoy both leagues, Bass and MLF. I fish both, so I relate to both of them. And I was thinking about, I'm a big football guy, and now that football season is close to ending, it's playoffs right now. I was like, what am I going to do with all my time? I'm like, oh wait, fishing starts in 20 days or whatever. Pro fishing does. So it's a blast to get to watch those guys.
So is the first one really only 20 days away? I guess there's an MLF tournament, right?
Yeah, I believe the first one starts in Florida. Let me pull up.
It might be the Invitational while you're looking that up, because I saw Jacob just released a video.
I think that's right. Yes. Let's see.
Dude, we're gonna have to pick like 3 anglers and see which angler comes off on top.
I wonder who you want to pick.
With Jacob being on there, I guess.
That's a great choice. Stage 1 for the BPT is Kissimmee Chain, February 13th.
2/13. Yeah, that's right around the corner.
Yeah, 20-something days.
So would you pick Jacob or would you pick DC?
Probably, yeah.
So you would get Dustin Carnell?
Yeah, that's my guy.
All right.
Love me some DC. DC or it's hard to go against Michael Neal. He's been amazing the last couple of years. There's Dakota Eber. I don't know if you were familiar with him. He came on strong last year. There's some good up-and-comers too.
Dude, I was watching a video from Mark Daniels, and he's talking about his aluminum Ranger. I'm like, dude, did he go to an aluminum boat? But this is just his fun boat, I think. I don't think that's his tournament rig.
Yeah, no, I think he's got a tracker that's like a pond hopper or whatever.
Yeah, no, that's DC. I'm talking about Mark Daniels.
Gotcha. Yeah, so they both have one now.
Yeah, I think DC has a tracker. Mark has a Ranger. So
that's cool. That's cool.
And Jacob still's got his little jet boat.
Like Mike said, if I get bored, I can come by his place and clean his spinnerbait blades. Yeah, that's nice. My hourly rate is $50 an hour. New rules, so there will be new anglers leading this year. I don't see DC doing that great this year.
Yeah, I mean, Fishing with Bait's got a good point, man, because DC likes to be scoping them, with the, that spinning rod, man. So
he was good before. He was on the Elite Series before he was on MLF. So I think I don't know if he was Angler of the Year, but he was up there in the elites. I am of the opinion that the guys who catch them just catch them. I don't think that this is just going to flip all the results and nobody's going to, I think it'll totally change the strategy of everyone. But I think those who catch them will continue to catch them.
Yeah, I'm on MLS page here. Let me go ahead and share my screen, see if any of these names ring the bell, or you're like, oh man, I like this guy right here. Let's see, BPT, share. I don't know. I think some of those Tommy Biffle, man. I didn't follow him like back in the day, but I hear he's a good flipper and likes to fish shallow and whatnot.
Probably the best flipper in the industry. I like Josh Bertrand personally, guy from out west. He was also on the elites before he was on the BPT. Clausen's always good. MDJ is always good. Ott's one of my favorite guys in the whole.
But
tour.
you feel like Ott can catch the big ones though?
Dude, he's won a classic. What are you talking about? Come on, man.
I'm new to this, man. I wasn't following this stuff 3 years ago.
Yeah, he won a classic right before he came over down to MLF. A lot of the majority of these guys were fishing the 5-fish format before they went over to the BPT. Edwin, he's one of the best to ever do it. He won a bunch with bass. So Randy Howell, also really, really good. Roy Hawk he's an old school guy. He's gonna catch them. Shin Fukai is a good one. All these guys to get to this level, you have to be like a 1%er, you have to be just stupid good. And all these guys are,
yeah. Mike, any of these names ring the bell to you, or you like that you really like to follow back in the day? I don't know how much Mike followed pro fishing.
So you got to fish with Andy Montgomery, right?
Yeah, man, it was cool. I feel like he might be a contender because I feel like the 5-fish formats works well with him.
Keith Poche was Angler of the Year for the Opens last year. You got to 5-fish format.
Yeah, and he's fishing aluminum boat.
Warehouse Pro Circuit Angler of the Year twice in a row. Talk has been around forever. Skeet's been around forever. These guys don't hang around. They don't hang around if they're not good at catching them one way or the other.
Dude, I was surprised they were talking about what's his name? The guy that owns Duck at Boyd. I guess he was really good back in the day, but I hadn't really seen him do anything here recently.
It happens to some of these guys, and you might see them come back with the 5-fish format. You might see them, get back in their comfort zone. But there's Wheeler, of course. That's, and then you got KVD the GOAT. So I'm excited to see Jacob Wall. I don't know him, but my parents live in Huntsville, sort of near where he's at, and I'm excited to see him on the tour.
He won like 2 tournaments, right? Jacob Wall, he's the guy that won Gunnersville, right? In last year.
Did he win Gunnersville, or was that LeBrun last year?
But either way, you like him because he's somewhat local?
Yeah, just a really good Gunnersville guy. Just seems like a really smart, really interesting guy. Salzman's another one that I really like. He's divided some people in the past. Not everybody likes him, but I'm going to see him this weekend, so that's going to be cool.
So what you said he had some people don't like him. Why is that, you think?
Yeah, I don't know how many people are watching. I don't know if I should share this story. So I did a guide trip on Gunnersville back in 2020. This was I think it was August of 2020. And, he guided out there. I think he still does guide out there a lot. But before he was on the BPT, he's always been really big in fishing, but he decided to go pro just a few years ago. But anyways, we get back to the ramp. We had a good guide trip. It was fun. We get back, and I'm walking up to the car, and I look over at this truck, and there's like holes in the truck. And I
Oh,
see
dang.
one of the windows is broken, and I'm like, "What in the world?" So I'll go back over to our guide, Donald Johnson. I'm like, "Dude, is that those bullet holes?" He's like, "Yeah, that particular individual. He's made some enemies around here. What I don't know his exact words, but it was like, is I'll give him a call and let him know." And another funny thing about Ryan is I like shouted him out on Instagram, and he replied to my message, and we talked a little bit on Instagram. So I'm a fan.
Same thing with Polnick, right?
Well, he didn't like message me on, but he did like one of the posts that I tagged him in. I've heard that he spends like 2 hours a day interacting with fans on Instagram just to like grow his following. And when you do that, like when you shout a guy out, or like Otts posted me on his story a few times, like I'm a fan for life. That's a big deal for me.
Yeah, man. I mean, just to dedicate a little bit of the valuable time that you have,
Yep. Yeah, definitely. Mike Iaconelli is one of my boys. I'm gonna see his class on Lipless. I'm really excited for. That's gonna be really cool this weekend. So I don't know if I've talked about it yet, but the Bass University does these in-person seminars, and I'm going to one this weekend in Gadsden, Alabama, and it's going to be really cool. I'm really excited.
I'm assuming you watch it. You're listening to that BTO with Ike.
Yeah.
I think first one this year.
Yep, of course. Got a buddy who fished with Ike in one of the opens this year and had a great time with him. I think he's maybe a little over the top for my taste, but he has a brand, and I respect the hell out of that. Like he definitely has his thing, and I respect that a ton.
Dude, I was watching his boat setup for this year, or I don't know if he was talking about it on BTL or did a YouTube video on it, but man, it's crazy how many batteries that guy has. Like, they're like lithium batteries, but yeah, he has a backup for like each of the batteries and whatnot. It's ridiculous. So,
well, he admitted and this is the thing that's been known about him for a long time, is he's hard on his stuff, so he's got to have backups.
Yeah. So was it on BTL or did I see it on YouTube video?
It was on BTL.
Gotcha. Man, it's all like a blur, man. When you like eat, sleep, and read fishing,
like consume all the fishing content you can, right?
Yeah, I'm not big on Instagram, so at least I'm not on that rabbit trail. I mean,
yeah, so. It's necessary nowadays.
Dude, did you watch the BTL? I think it was today with Frank Scalish. That was a pretty good episode.
Not gotten to that one yet.
Dude, you got to watch it. It's like a lot of times I'll listen to them on the drive home, but I say that the Frank ones for watching them on video because I can actually see like Frank's drawings and whatnot. And so tonight was really good.
Okay, I'll check it out. Yeah, I do like to watch his when they do, especially like map studies and stuff like that. To see them do it live is really great.
Yeah, one of the things that Frank does, I feel like, is really cool. Is like he still like prints out stuff. So like like a lot of YouTubers these days, they'll just bring up Navionics and they'll scroll and look at stuff. Like this dude will like print it out and put it on like a big cardboard thing, and then he's like putting pins on it and drawing stuff and whatnot. And so like, man, that's so cool. It's like I wanted to make it like a detective room. Like I have like a spare bedroom, like just have a whole wall of like, all right, this is what stuff looks like.
Be like the meme with all the strings everywhere. Like
yeah, I think that's kind of cool.
I think that we relate to the digital stuff so well now that it's been out for a few years, but I think there is something to like a tactile looking at something and being able to manipulate it with your hands. It makes it reality to me. I can scroll on Navionics for years and like I can go over to Colorado and look at lakes out there, and it doesn't make a difference. But having that physically in your hand, I think that definitely makes a difference.
Heck, Mike probably is like using a paper map, with his flasher out there trying to figure out.
Oh yeah, he's got it printing out on like papyrus.
Oh man, that had to be pretty sketchy back in the day, trying to run around with just a paper map.
I mean, yeah. My buddy I fish with still has paper maps, and they're really cool to look at.
Really interesting, dude. I don't know if I think you saw. I'm gonna try to upgrade my my live stream scope to a 12-inch. That way you can see it from the back of the boat.
I appreciate that. I need that. Fishing off your boat so much nowadays. If you want to put that 9 like back where my seat is, then I can I can be doing stuff while you're motoring around or whatever you're doing. in your boat.
It did not maybe not. I think Matt's talked about this on VTL, but they have the beat down outdoors, like the
Yeah.
pole. You get it off the ground, dude. I spent like $1,000 on that stuff. I'm like,
Did
man,
you?
I already spent all this money on the stuff. What's another $1,000? You know,
Right. That's awesome, man. That's I mean, you're getting old too, so soon enough you won't even be able to look down like that, right?
dude, man. I was fishing with Doug on his boat, man. Like live scoping him, man. My back was like killing me that night. You know, so I'm like,
Think
like
about
every
those
once in a
dudes. Those
while,
dudes who
every once in a while, I'm like, oh man. He's like, your back hurt. I'm like, yeah, man. I'm like, just staring down the screen all day.
think about those pros who do it 8 hours a day in a tournament setting where you're already like all tense from the stress of it. It's amazing.
Dude, it'd be interesting to see how if anybody starts using those mounts to get them off, the ground level. I mean, does it make any sense for it to be that down that low?
Yeah.
If you can bring it up and not be in your way.
There will be some guys who are like, I don't need to take 5 seconds to put it back down when I'm ready to leave. I just want to pull the trolling motor and go. I think you'll have that crowd, and then you'll have the crowd that's like, yeah, dude, of course. I don't want to be geriatric when I get to 60 years old. We mentioned Edwin.
Yeah,
I talked about it.
So it sounds like Mike's got some of his folks, right? So I have to go back and jot this down. But I don't know. For MLF, it sounds like might like Edwin and Skeet.
Yeah, Skeet Reese, KVD. That's part of the old gold. They are those, and they're still good. Like Edwin in particular, I think is the best out of that group right now. But Skeet is not behind him, and KVD has. I mean, I think didn't he win Chickamauga last year or 2 years ago?
I don't know. I wasn't really following it then. But you talk about branding, man, perspective, dude. I think Skeet's the one has that big yellow truck, right? And like all the yellow rocks.
You don't follow it that closely, and you even know that.
Yeah, and it's wild, dude. I mean, that truck is like bigger than life. I feel like.
Yeah, for sure. Edwin's got his pecans. That's a cool little deal he does, and I mean KVD. I don't need to say anything more about him.
Dude, what's cool about that one? But he was talking about like how his wife helps him with the branding and all other good stuff. Like talking about like how he always wear like black shorts or black pants or whatnot, and to go with that red. Like man, he's like, man, that's all that stuff's intentional, and it's like it's crazy how like, people take stuff like that for granted, but feel like it makes a difference.
Well, it's I've been talking about this with my buddy Kevin, talking about how much Jacob Wheeler has been showing Shimano stuff in his videos.
I haven't picked up on that.
With the amount of influence that guy has, there's no way that he does anything without thinking about it first.
I thought his reels he uses that paradigm. I thought he uses paradigm wheels.
I have not heard good things about him, man. I'll be honest with you. And I don't think he's going to put a product in his video unless there's some Guggen. He's not with Guggen anymore. He'll still put some stuff on there, but he won't mention that it's Guggen anymore. He'll just say, "Oh, I got a creature bait here that I'm putting on my whatever." But he's asking like, "Oh, what do you guys think about these Shimanos? You guys like them?" There's something going on there.
Huh. Money too, right? So
yeah, of course.
Dude, I've been tempted to do that. Use that Daiwa Tatula, man. I know Bible Belt. Chad, is it Chad? What's his name?
Yeah, Chad Byler.
Yeah, he's talking about how much he likes those Daiwa Tatulas now.
I've got one right here. This is normally my frog rod, but my uncle gave this to me. It's a Daiwa Tatula.
The only thing I don't like is like the little spider deal. Like, is that just part of their logo or something?
Yeah, it's the Tatula like logo. This has been a good reel. I'm a Shimano guy through and through, but it is really good for these grips are like super wide and big. And so you can see I've got a punching set up on here right now. They're really good for frog fishing and punching because you need that real big, grip basis basically.
Dude, I don't think I've caught any fish on a frog.
Oh man, you gotta come down here and fish with my ponds with me, man.
And then take my golf clubs at me too.
If you want, yeah.
No, man, I'm making a conservative effort, man. I'm trying to like prioritize my stuff, dude. I've had an opportunity to play golf like the last 2 or 3 times this year. I mean, we're only like 18, 20 days in. I've already turned down golf like 3 times. And my buddy was a big trip planned up in Kentucky. And it was going to cost me a couple $100 to go play golf. And I told him, man, I was like, I just can't do it, man. It's like, just got to pick my battles, spending all this money on fishing gear. So
Yep.
I'm
I
going to be a
feel
little
it.
bit this year.
Sucks being interested in so many other things, doesn't it?
Yeah. But what is your deal? I mean, I don't feel like I feel like you fully kind of dedicate yourself to fishing, right?
It's pretty much it, man. I like Star Wars, I like the Broncos, and I like fishing. So it takes up a lot of my time.
Dude, I can't tell you I don't think I've watched the whole Star Wars from the beginning to end. I can't
All
even
right,
tell you.
we're gonna end this now, and John is. Yeah, no, I mean, fishing has really become like it's always been a passion of mine. I've always loved it, but here in the past few years, I've really poured into it very heavily. Especially with jumping in the tournament scene, it's just become like that's the stuff I do. Like I consume a lot of Star Wars, and I listen to podcasts on it, and I keep up with the Broncos. I listen to podcasts on them and all of that. But fishing is like what I do.
Yeah. Mike, you're still on, man. What else should we chat about? Anything interests you lately? And it sounds like Mike's still getting over sick a little bit. I know he's looking forward to the class. Dude, maybe we could talk a little bit about the Classic. So it's in Knoxville.
It is.
But are they not launching around Knoxville? Like they're like where's the ramp? Because Mike sent a link the other day to a lake that they're launching from, I guess, or going to be fishing.
It's the Tennessee River, so you can. I mean, they're technically they don't actually say that they're fishing Fort Loudon. Like they see the Classic on the Tennessee River because the portion they're launching at is the Tennessee River portion in Knoxville. So they're launching in Knoxville. You'll be able to walk up and watch them, blast off.
Nice. So we don't have to drive 30 minutes somewhere from Fort.
No, you go look at I think it's the 2018 Classic was the one that won at that very same location. Go look at the video from that. It's awesome.
Have you been to one?
No, never been to a Classic. The last couple years, let's see. It was it Fork last year? I think it was Fork last year and Hartwell it was Hartwell last year and then Fork the year before. But I'm excited to go.
But I just think it's like just going to be cool, right, to be there to blast off and like singing the national anthem and seeing these pros and whatnot. All these guys that we've been watching all the time.
Oh, yeah, morning blast off is one of the best things in the world. Like I get so excited to get laser focused, man. Even my brother likes fishing, but we were talking about my videos when I was visiting him last time, and he was like, "Man, when I watch your videos." And like I watched the blast off part, he was like, "Man, I get so excited. I get so hyped up for that." I'm like, "Yeah, dude, it's awesome."
Yeah. Mike was asking about my lithium batteries, and I'm pulling up the app here. I don't know if you'll be able to tell there. Man, it's like
There it goes.
But either way, like what I love about it is I'm sitting in the living room. The boat's outside, and I can bring it up and know that it's charged up.
Yeah.
I don't know. Let's see, that one's on it. And then what's really cool is they don't take that much energy, so they last longer. And then another big advantage is they charge up quick, so it's like I don't use it that much, or like when it's like really cold and they technically don't charge well when it's cold, and so it's like I'm not too worried about it because I didn't really deplete it much. And then if what I did deplete, I can easily charge back up, the next morning when it warms up. So
yeah, that's great. Mike's asking about batteries here. Do you know how many people we have watching? Do we have is Mike the only one?
It's all right. And maybe I have noticed that some people do watch it afterwards. And so, it goes on my YouTube content under the live tab.
Okay.
But the general cost, Mike, I think for mine, I paid in the beginning of the year, it was $6.99. They said it was on sale. I don't know if they're always on sale or not, but I went with Ionics. And so $700 for 12 volt, 100 amp hours. So you'll see people talk about 50 amp hours and 100 amp hours. And, some guys will talk about, 50 amp hours is plenty, but I just didn't want to have to worry about it. So I got 2 100 amp hour batteries. And, I did a video on it, but I didn't show the weight. But, I mean, they're at least half the weight of lead acid batteries. So, I mean, which I pick you up some speed. I think I can get my boat up to 58 now. I think before it was around maybe 55 is what I was getting up to. So
Yeah, nice.
that's it.
Gordo and Mike are the only ones watching. I just pulled it up on my phone, so appreciate you guys hanging around for us.
Oh, how do you do that? I guess you can just go like to the YouTube video or something like
Yeah,
that.
I
And
just went to your channel on my phone.
yeah, man, Gordo was on. Yeah, you were on it yesterday too, but Gordo was on at the gym and trying to provide some little nuggets here and there. So that's what's cool, man. It's like even though we don't really have that much people watching, for the people that do watch it, man, I feel like they get a lot of little nuggets, you know. So
I
I
hope
don't
so.
know.
And one thing he said that kind of inspired me last week was he was talking about there's not a lot of co-angler videos out there. Like there's some, and there's some bad ones, and there's some good ones. But there's just not a lot of co-angler stuff out there when you go search it. So I'm kind of now on this mission to help other co-anglers prepare, whether you're new or old. Hopefully I can offer something that would be of interest. But I'm going to do like a full list of, when I took that picture you used for your thumbnail that I sent everybody, I'm going to do a
Mhm.
full list of everything that's in the backpack and everything I bring that's not in the backpack and like the optional stuff. And I'm really going to break it down. So I think it's going to be cool.
Dude, Gordo was on, man. He looked like he got some big ones today, man. I don't know if you're up to date on
Yeah.
social, but
Yeah. He was up I think he was up on Chick, wasn't he?
did he say where he was at? I know he talked about Justin Medley. Is that the guy? I don't know, Justin. It looks like Justin is in Chattanooga.
I think he was up on Chick.
Maybe that's where you got to go to catch some big ones. Yeah, he said, "Chick."
Yep.
That water looks pretty stained.
I
Cold
love it.
stained. Do you?
I love it.
Fish are more likely to feed up because they
They have
can't
to
see the
make
water
a
as well.
split-second decision, man. When they see that lure come by them, they either don't care about it or they're going to eat it.
I saw where John Nelson also picked up some custom painted lures. Is that the same guy that you used? Did you see that?
I saw that he got those. They looked really good. I don't have a guy I specifically go to. I mean, I like those hog chow baits that I got at Harper's River Outfitters, but I don't have anybody specific I go to for that kind of stuff.
Yeah. Mike's asking the size of the battery. Mike, I'm pretty sure I could have used my old battery tray. I think they're Group 27s. I'm not 100% sure. I think there's a Group 27 and a Group 31. I want to say my AGM's a Group 31, so I think it's a Group 27. And does my old charger work? Yes, but I would double check on that because I actually bought a lithium charger and I'm in the process of sending it back. But I emailed them the exact model that I had, and they told me that it would work. But if you go on the website, I want to say it's lithiumhub.com. Um, they'll tell you which charger work or what's to look for, and so. But if your charger doesn't work, it's probably like another $400.
Is that, do they have to like trickle charge on the lithiums, or is there some specific technical reason they have to use like a specific lithium charger?
Yeah, it's similar like the AGM. Like there's like it talks about like it charging up to like a certain voltage, and as long as it hits that certain voltage, then you're okay. I forgot the full technical specs on that, but
Gotcha.
like when I bought it, it was at the beginning of the year. I'm like, man, like I want to buy everything. I want to buy everything at once, and so I bought it. And it's like I'm spending $1,400 on a battery, and like I don't want to take a chance about using this charger I think might work, and so I went ahead and spent another $400 on a charger. But I charged them up, and they work. So I'm like, okay, I'm just gonna roll with what I have. And like the customer service was great, man. Like I called them, they picked up the phone, and they're like, "Oh
Wow.
yeah, I'll just email you a return label." And
Yeah.
like, I feel like that's so tough these days, man. Like you try to call places, man, it's like they don't ever pick up the phone. They want you to email them and stuff like that. And sometimes you just want to talk to someone.
Yep. That's a sign of our times. That's how it is.
And that's the same way. And that's the reason why I went with the guy that I did for the power poles. He's up in like Salisbury, North Carolina. And the guy fishes, like when I caught him, he was on the water, giving like an on the water lesson. And he kind of talked through, I told him what I wanted. He's like, "Oh yeah, consider this. This is why I would do that." Like he didn't try to push me on anything, it's just listen to me and provided his expertise. And so like I feel more confident in buying something from somebody that actually like fishes and does this stuff all the time.
Yeah. No, for sure. Those power poles are awesome, man. You're gonna love them.
Dude, it worked well. I mean, I haven't and again, I don't watch a whole lot of people fish, but one of the things I didn't think about doing was, when we fished the river, is Doug actually backed his boat like towards the bank and then
Yeah.
anchored down. Because I feel like a lot of times when people fish, like they're casting towards the bank and then trying to anchor down, but like out on the river, it's deeper on that side of the water. And
Yep.
so Doug was actually able to like back in and use his power pole because it's shallower towards the bank, and then we're throwing it towards the channel. And I think that helped because like the way the fish were positioned and whatnot, and with him anchored down, Doug was able to use his active target to kind of narrow down those fish and figure out where they were. So
It's awesome, man. It's just all the technology that we have at our disposal now, man. I do not understand the people who rail against it, who don't like it. I'm like, well, it's gonna pass you by. That is a perfect example of your shallow water anchor system plus your motorized electronic GPS trolling motor plus your forward facing sonar. That's just all those coming together.
yeah. And like I forgot who was on BTL, but they were talking about. Oh no, I was actually watching the Jacob. He was talking to two other guys, Cal Welcher and maybe Hunter Sherlock, maybe. I'm not sure if you saw that video, but they were talking about just kind of recapping what they thought about forward facing sonar. And somebody said one of the things I realized is like 40 feet is not that far, but 100 feet is far. I don't know if you remember that part.
I didn't
Um,
notice that. I
you haven't
should.
watched it?
No.
It's pretty good. Just kind of them, just kind of sitting around chatting, kind of like we are. And dude, it was never so true, man. Like it was cool. Like I watched that video like Tuesday, Wednesday this week, and then I was out fishing with Doug on Monday, and like he had his active target out like 70 feet, and like we were throwing that the 6 ounce, like 1 6 ounce, trying to catch those hybrids, and it was like all I could do to like throw it out there 70 feet to try to reach those bass, and like with a little bit of wind. And then like when they're like half that distance, like let's say 30, 40 feet, there's just like a flick of a wrist,
Yeah.
to like drop it down in front of them. And it's like, man, I never really kind of thought about that, but it's so true.
Yeah. It's like that. It's like what you told me about or what Soka was talking about, as far as 20 feet not being actually that deep. Like you look
Yeah.
at your boat and it's pretty close to 20, and it doesn't seem that long, right?
Yeah. Yeah. Well, Mike's talking about Randy Blockett, man. I was watching this stuff there for a little bit, but man, that's like, I feel like a lot of stuff that he's doing now is just for the views, and it's just like getting annoying. So I don't even like click on it to give him that view count. So that's where I'm at
Can't
with like,
either.
it's
Can't
like,
do it.
it's like a 3 or 5 minute video, and then he spends half that video just talking about like advertising for bait works or fish to moment and all other good stuff. So it's just like, it's a commercial with a little bit of content. So
Yeah. Can't do it. Personally, can't do it. If you have a platform and that's what you use it for, I'm out.
yeah. And I think that's why like, Gordo's talking about how he doesn't like to watch like tactical bass and then some of those guys these days because they're always talking about baits. But some of that stuff is useful. But yeah, I can be like Gordo sometimes, like, man, like it's just so overwhelming. I gotta buy this, I gotta buy that, I gotta buy this expensive rod. Although they do like budget rods and stuff like that every once in a while too, though, right?
They do.
Like, they're like, hey, here's a cheap setup and here's a expensive setup, and try
Yeah,
to
they do.
cover all the
And
different
like
demographics.
their actual fishing content is still some of the best out there, I think. Like when they're not, because they do, obviously they sell products and definitely, if you, man, it's funny, if you look at the tackle warehouse, like the best sellers, I would say 8 out of 10 of them are like tactical bass and favorites, like the Kitech jig and the Kitech swim baits and some other stuff they talk about all the time. But their actual fishing videos are amazing.
Yeah, dude, I wonder how they got to make a killing off those affiliate links, man. I don't know if people actually use them or not, but if they do, man, I mean, that's
I do.
yeah.
They should, man. They
I mean, it
I've
doesn't cost you anything, right? I mean, it's
well,
not.
no, it didn't cost us anything,
Yeah.
and I've learned a ton from their videos.
Yeah. So you want them to continue to put out videos, right? So that's why you try to
Certainly
support them.
do. Man, they've got some of their older videos, like before they really blew up, of catching like 10-pound spots and 40-pound stripe and just like really awesome stuff that they don't really get to do anymore. They've got some like old gold stuff that is just awesome.
Dude, I liked it when was it Matt's son? He was out there catching a
Yeah,
striper
up
on
by the
Saturday.
dam.
Yeah, that was
Yeah,
cool.
dude. That's awesome. That's what it's all about right there.
I'll go ahead and pull Mike and Gordo. Maybe in the comments, drop y'all's two favorite YouTubers or anybody we should check out that we haven't talked about. But
Yeah, besides us, because I know we're their favorites, obviously.
yeah, they got that notification bells turned on and all the good stuff. But yeah, man, I think it's gonna be cool. Like a few years from now, like when we're running in the tactical bassin, and like we're watching these videos of their kids like this small. Matt's son like this small, and then we see him, they were like, dude, we're gonna be like that creeper guy. Like, man, I remember when you were like this big, and now you're like a teenager, fishing in high school and going to college and whatnot. So
Both of his boys throw a bait caster better than half the people on YouTube, and I'm not kidding when I say that.
Jason Christie fishing. Gordo, I'm not sure if you saw it, man. Jason Christie's going to be running 2 live scopes this year, man. So I think
And he's
that's super
with Skeeter now
interesting.
too, or did he go
What's
Nitro?
I don't think he went Nitro. What was the other one? I think he went Skeeter.
Yeah, because he switched from Express, and everybody's talking about it.
Yeah. I like Skeeter boats, man. I don't know if you've been in Skeeters, man, but the couple ones I've been on has been really nice. What I love about Jason Christie's videos, man, he's like short, simple, and like straight to the point, and like like there's super quick. I get the information. I don't feel like he talks in circles,
And you know what he likes to throw?
Spinnerbait, covert spinnerbait, right, or something like that.
Yeah, I think he's a covert guy. Which I've got some. I do like him.
And he likes those jigs too, right?
He does. That's what he won the classic on.
Yeah, dude. One of the things I'm trying to do this year, I don't know if you do this or not, but like a lot of these pros are so proficient, like casting with their right hand and their left hand, and so especially with the way Jason fishes, like a lot of times around those docks, when you get to that right angle, he can use his left hand to cast, switch and whatnot, and right hand. And so I think that's super cool. And so, when we're out there just kind of fun fishing, every once in a while, I'll cast with the left hand. So
I landed a striper with my opposite hand one time as I was fishing with a guide before he'd like switched it over for us or whatever. That was interesting of me like looking like a total idiot trying to reel it in.
Dude, it's like riding left-handed, man. It's like it feels so weird.
Yes, but it's a good thing to learn for sure.
But dude, you should see me like casting the first time I was out there by myself. And I had to think about it. I'm like, dude, not like, because I almost
like throw it in the water.
Yeah, do not throw this thing in the water. And,
you seen those videos like you guys got a fish in his phone and he takes a picture and then he like tosses it in the water?
Oh man, hopefully we never do that.
Yeah.
What else you got for us, Gordo? You're watching Jason Christie fishing. Do you listen to the podcast? I feel like Gordo, you driving between job sites or maybe driving a chick or something like that. I'm not. What do you you just listen to radio?
He listens to us, man. He listens to this.
What else?
What else is out there, right?
Yeah. Well, BTL, they were doing Frank Scalish live tonight. I was like at 7:30. I'm like, oh man, guess we have to try to get that one.
I'd like to go to their little meetup that's happening, but that's a little bit of a drive.
They have a meetup in Oklahoma when they're shooting the video together or something.
Well, I think they're doing they're doing BTL live for the 100th show in Shawnee at the studio, and then he's going to be at the Classic, so you might run into him. Matt and Frank are going to be at the Classic.
Oh, nice. Tactical Bassin fished a moment at Edwin Evers. Mike, I feel like you watch some of those guys up in the Fish for Smallmouth up at Del Hollow. Have they put out any good content here lately? Or any social media posts? That way I can drag my butt 2 hours to
you ever watch Smallmouth Crush?
What's that?
You ever watch Smallmouth Crush?
I have. I don't watch him religiously.
Yeah, he's got some good stuff.
Yeah, he's actually who I got my inspiration from building the studio.
Nice. Yeah, he's got some good stuff, especially like I really like his Tennessee River content, like the Tennessee River smallmouth he catches below those tail races. Man, that's so cool.
It seems like a lot. Maybe when a lot of the videos that I was watching from him, it was more just like him just sitting and talking in front of the camera. So
he's got a lot of fishing videos as well, but he does have plenty of talk at the camera stuff like we're doing right now.
And didn't he like just have like a live stream going on at one time, like just him, like just messing around in the garage, not even interacting with the camera or something like that? Like people can just kind of tune in. Did you hear about
Yeah,
that?
he did. He did. I think it was like a 12-hour stream or something, and people would just like jump in and then jump out whenever they wanted.
Huh.
I am not that interesting of a person. I can't. I will not entertain anybody for more than 15 minutes, basically.
Bass Resource. What, Tim May here from Bass Resource. Is that the guy?
And that stuff.
Dude, he's doing it, man. Like I feel like he's been out there for a while, and like dude sets up like a tripod and everything, fishing with his wife.
Yeah. I watch a channel called FCP Fishing. It's a guy on Lanier, and he's got some really good, not just spotted bass, but some really good striper videos out there. I'll give him a shout out. Not that he has any idea this is happening, but I've interacted with him a couple times on like YouTube and Instagram, and he's a nice guy.
SCP Fishing.
FCP Fishing.
Gotcha.
What about like some local guys that do stuff around us? Like who are the ones we like to watch?
Big Jim Fishing, right?
Yeah, I like Big Jim.
Yeah, you're gonna be on this podcast.
I'm gonna be on his stream either this coming Monday or the next one, depending on if his guest shows up. That'll be exciting.
Jad's been catching them on the Cullen. He's got some good. He catches them on Old Hickory.
Yeah, he does. He's got some good stuff out there.
We need to get on that Faith and Fishing chat video though. Maybe I can be his content creator and be Gordo's video guy. He can.
I told him I would help him.
But man, like he's always like fishing during the week while we're working. It's gonna be tough,
Yeah, no, it is. And he's doing it the right way. He wants to incorporate his faith into it, and I don't do a good enough job of that on mine. But he's being very strategic, and me and you were like, pump it out, get it out there, go, go, and he's being very strategic about it. So that's certainly respectable.
Yeah, be interesting to see how he does the editing and all other good stuff. Because as you know, man, like all this stuff takes time, to upload, and you gotta have the right software to, edit it, and just all this stuff just takes time. That's what I love about these, dude. We it's just us chatting, and then like YouTube automatically updates it, and people watch it. Great, if not, it's cool because we would normally be chatting about fishing like this anyways instead of just texting.
Right. Production value is low, but reception can be high, right?
Yeah, Sticks fishing, dude. It's going to be interesting to see what Sticks does this year. I think he's going to try to fish some tournaments. I thought I saw where he's like wrapping his boat and all other good stuff. And so
really great. That's cool. Because he does great content, but I can't watch more of his videos where he just does the same thing. I just can't. I respect that of him. I respect him making the effort and go out there and fishing, but I can only watch the same video so many times.
Dude, Backdraft Lures joining us, man.
You know who Brandon? That's Brandon. That's my guy.
I think this is the firefighter that makes his own lures or something like that too.
That's right. Yep.
Maybe that's right.
Drives around in the wrapped Black Rifle coffee truck.
Haven't got on that Black Rifle stuff yet.
I haven't either. I'm scared if I do it, I'll never go back.
Brandon, what's your favorite YouTube channel these days? What are you watching? What are you listening to? Or if that's too hard, maybe you can kind of throw us what your latest fishing trip's been like.
I mean, he's been putting out some good stuff lately. Last time I talked to him was probably at a BFL, and he was kind of figuring out what to do whether he was gonna release what he was gonna put out and stuff. But he's been putting some good stuff out there.
Yeah. I think as it warms up, man, springtime, dude, everybody's going to be like cranking out content, posting videos of big end and fish and how great fishing is and yada, yada, yada,
It's hard, man. It's, most of the season I'm doing 2 videos a week. Like I was thinking back, I'm like, this winter I've been doing 1 a week, and I'm like, how was I doing 2? Like, what was I, that's nuts.
Yeah. Well, like when it's warmer, I mean, you can fish the pond, you could fish the creek and whatnot, dude. Like now you got a weekend to fish, and you got to hope that weekend is nice and you ain't got anything else going on,
Yep, true that.
What about trout stuff? Do you think you're going to do more trout stuff this year?
Yes, trout are actually getting stocked in Franklin tomorrow, so I'll probably I may not go out there tomorrow just because it's going to be super busy. But I may go out there maybe Monday or something. Now that I have the waiters, my options are very open.
You think they'll bite that early on after they just get dumped in the water? It seems like they would have to get like acclimated and cool down and stuff like that.
I caught them a lot better right after they got released than a few days
Really?
later. Yeah, it doesn't make sense, but I did have. So I don't know if you're part of some of the bank fishing groups, but Simon told me that you should wait a few time or a few days. It looks like Brandon's gonna have a trap video coming out soon. Have a booth at Tennessee Boat and Fishing Expo. That's great, man. Love to see you out there. The trap
Where's
stuff
that?
is fun.
What's the Tennessee Boat and Fishing Expo? Is that are you familiar with that?
I don't
Or is
know
that
I don't know if that's in a couple weeks here soon or when that is. But it's just cool to see a local company get some representation.
yeah? What was you saying about trout? We were talking about Simon, and Simon likes to wait a few days or something.
Yeah, so Simon Cow is like the trout overlord of the Facebook groups, man. He slays them. He's crappie overlord, trout overlord. Um, Lebanon, February 3rd through 5th. Okay, cool. That's awesome. But I was talking to him about the trout fishing and the stocking. And he was saying to wait 2 days after they get stocked to go fish for them. I went out there the day after they got stocked last time down here in Franklin, and fishing was way better like that day after and then the next day than it was like 5 days later. So
Dude, talking about Simon, man, like he's almost got me wanting to go down to like, is he fishing at the end of Normandy Dam or Woods? It's probably Normandy, right?
he does both.
Dude, like it seems like they've been catching a bunch of sauger at the bottom of Normandy, man. Like
He's been
these guys
actually
are like swim baits, you know.
the sauger are actually below Old Hickory.
Oh, here, like on the Como?
Yeah.
Hmm.
That's where he's been catching the sauger. Dude, he's so good. I don't know what it is, but he can catch them.
I mean, I feel like those guys are just like those people that are catching those saugers. They're like just using swim baits or something like that, right? Like on
A
a
lot
ball
of it
head.
is that floating slip bobber technique that I use on Normandy. That's a lot of what they're doing.
Wouldn't you use like a trout magnet or something like that?
Yeah, but you can put like a crappie jig on the bottom instead of a. That's a lot of what they're catching those fish on.
I don't know, man. Fishing's been so tough here lately. I almost want to go try to do that sometimes, you know.
That's why I love that trout stuff, man, because you pretty much are guaranteed to go down there and catch at least one.
Rooster tails. That's what Brandon was saying. But you use real light line too. Maybe that's why it's like really fun because it's like light line, real light pole.
Real, a
Oh,
5.5 foot ultralight.
and stuff. Yeah.
Yeah, 5.5 foot ultralight, 8 pound braid, 6 pound mono, 1/8 ounce lure. It's awesome. It's really fun.
Brandon, what else you got going on these days? You said you got a Percy Priest is your next video. You got an expo coming up. Well, he makes jigs, right? Is that what he does?
I think he makes jigs. I think he's got a spinnerbait out, maybe. So I met him at some of the BFLs. I think I'm sure I'll see him around this year. But super nice guy.
It's cool to see some locals, making lures and fishing tournaments and whatnot.
Yeah, I love it. It's good to support the locals. Get that local business going.
Yeah. Man, anything else big we should chat about before we close? I think we've been going a little over an hour and 20. Maybe we can go to give it another 6 minutes. Go to 8:30.
Sure, we can do that. I think biggest thing for me is tournament season starts in just over a week, which is crazy to say, and then focusing on putting out some co-angler content, some informational stuff that hopefully can help some people as the season ramps up. So it seems like it's super early for the season to be starting, but it's only a week earlier than it was last year for me. So I'm really looking forward to it.
I know we talked about like bibs and gloves before, but do you use like those little heat packets and whatnot? Any way to try to keep your fingers cold or hands warm or hands warmer?
So one thing that my buddy Kevin does, and I haven't actually tried this yet, but it's a good tip. let's see. I was just looking at the chat. Sorry to pause there. Backdraft makes jigs, spinnerbaits, and bladed jigs. So check them out. Gordo says trying out some backdraft stuff on Gunnersville. Dude, that's awesome. I'm jealous, but
Dude, man, Gordo's been fishing on. He's fished. He went to go fish chick this year. He's hitting up some Gunnersville, dude. I'm proud of you, man. Hitting up some different lakes.
dude,
Show some folks
TVA
that-
is awesome. All those lakes are they're on fire right now. Like
Yeah, Gordo, where you gonna be launching from, Gordo? You fishing like more on the like what are some of those? Goose Island Pond is one of them.
Goose Pond, Honeycomb, Browns Creek.
What's that one? Mud Creek.
Mud Creek, yep. Seabold. There's a couple others. See, as far as what I was saying about the heat packs for the hand warmers, my buddy Kevin puts wristbands on and puts the heat packs under them, and it helps keep your your circulation, everything helps keep your hands warm. So that was a good tip from him.
Oh, really? Because so as long as you kind of put it right there, it kind of helps with blood flow and whatnot.
Yeah, it keeps that blood that's flowing is actually warmer, so it kind of helps warm up your hands and stuff. But
yeah, my hands as a kid, my fingertips, man, like these things right here, it's like what gets cold, and I can't stand it.
And I'm just too stubborn. Growing up in Colorado, I got used to it, and I'm a soft man now, of course. Living but no, I'm big on like keeping your core warm more than anything. So that's like the focus of my cold weather strategy. But I'm excited to use the Fish Monkey wool. Yep. Yeah. I mean, I think anybody nowadays who wants to go fish in the winter is using those Fish Monkeys, man.
Yeah. Brendan, I'm not sure if you heard me talk about it before. I don't know if you use the fingerless ones or the full ones, but man, like I use full ones on one hand and the fingerless on the other, and it works out great. And then if it gets too cold, while I'm driving the boat, I just take the fingerless one off, put the full wool ones on, and then when I get ready to fish, I put the fingerless on, and it's worked out great for me.
Yep. Yeah. Keep that core warm, man. That's why I got that heated vest for Christmas, and thing's awesome.
You got a heated vest? I don't think we talked about that.
Oh, we didn't? Yeah, man.
Is it like battery pack, like a little lithium battery or something?
Yeah, it's basically, I've got the battery sitting right here. It's basically got a camera battery pack. And you just like put that thing in a little pocket, plug it in, and it keeps you warm. It's great.
And you're happy with the life jacket and everything that you have for this year? It's worked out well?
Yep, sticking with the auto deploy. I've thought about going back to like a regular, old school just to have that reassurance, but I mean, pretty confident in the one I've got.
Yeah, I kind of want to get some of those smaller ones that Mike and Doug have, but I feel like you're more likely to wear it, like especially if you're fishing the river and like the current tripping, and you feel safer wearing a life jacket. Because I feel like, man, if it's flowing over 19,000, man, it could probably get a little sketchy if you're out of that boat.
Yeah, seriously, that's the first thing. So I'm doing that list of stuff to bring as a co-angler, and PFD is number one. Got to make sure you have that.
Yeah. Mike uses heated gloves to rewarm his hands.
Yep.
Should be used to it, man. Being up in Chicago.
Yeah, that's what happens to us when we leave our cold homes, is we get soft.
Man, this is all I know. Although I feel like this year hasn't been nearly as depressing, like with fishing wise. I felt like, man, last year, dude. Maybe it's just because like I was like so into fishing, like, oh my god, it felt like it always rained and wind was
like when we went fishing last year, and we can close here pretty soon. But when we went fishing last year, it was Black Friday. It was the day after Thanksgiving, and it was already like freezing cold. Like it was like 35 degrees that day and blowing wind. When they ate that A-rig so good. I don't feel like it got that cold until at least December this year. Like it was not the same.
Global warming.
Yeah. Warming trend, right?
Warming trends. I'm not saying it's a global warming, it's warming trends.
Yeah.
I don't know, might turn on the spawn a little bit quicker. Or maybe or spawn later if it's getting cold later.
Yeah, but then it's also getting warm earlier, right?
I don't know, but I'm gonna have power poles this year for during spawning season. So I feel
There you
sorry
go.
for whoever's in the back of my boat. You're gonna have to share the front deck with me or something.
That's all right. We'll figure it out.
Yeah. All right, man. Any last words before we close? When's the next video that you're gonna be posting?
I don't know. I think it's going to be that co-angler what to bring video. And we got Backdraft in the chat. I'd love to join one of these live videos. Fishing as a boater this year, awesome. He looks like he's also going to do some co-angler tip videos. That's great too. The more information, the merrier out there. But as far as goes for me, man, just looking forward to the tournament season firing up here soon. Be on the lookout. If you're still watching, number one, I'm shocked. Why are you still watching? But I will have that stuff coming out here soon, and putting a lot of effort into it, and just can't wait to start fishing again, man. It's gonna be awesome.
Yeah. Brandon, we're gonna try to get in some routines. Like this is our second live video. Like me and Alex kind of chatting. I did one yesterday, but try to get on routine maybe every Thursday or something like that. Maybe people can start staying tuned for that. And lately we've been doing it at 7 o'clock, but I mean I feel like our schedule is pretty flexible. If we need to do it at 6 or 8 o'clock, that more people can join.
Yeah,
We could probably do that. Just let us know. But
we'll get Brandon on here. We'll get Gordo on here again. We'll get some other people for sure.
yeah, maybe actually start telling, like I said, I didn't really tell nobody about this tonight's video, but we get more in the swing of things. We can tell folks that we're doing this video and maybe get some tips from Big Jim on how to promote early on, because like dude's doing a live stream like a week from now and he's already telling folks about it. So getting people all fired up about it.
That's right.
All right, buddy. Guess I'll chat with you later.
All right, guys. Thanks for watching. Appreciate you, Johnny. See ya.
Yeah. Talk to you. Bye.